No, I don't find, I'm just being myself. So I think probably it was different several.
There will always be negative voices. And sometimes those voices can appear to be outsized, and sometimes they can
be able to join you tonight in celebrating the 125th anniversary of women's suffrage in your country.
Picture this. You're about to accept a humanitarian award for helping people. But right before that, you show up at Paris Fashion Week wearing a brand that got absolutely destroyed for a campaign involving kids in bondage gear. Yeah, you heard that right. And we're not talking about just anyone here. We're talking about Meghan Markle. Now, before you click away thinking you know this story, trust me, there's way more going on here than what you've seen on the headlines. This appearance, it reveals everything about what's really happening behind closed doors.
Schofield attacks Harry and Meghan over Project Healthy Minds Award,
the first show that
citing
I've
their
seen it on.
toxic fan base
And honestly, once you see the full picture, that humanitarian award is going to hit different. Real quick, if you want the full story that no one else is telling you, smash that like button and subscribe with notifications on. Because what I'm about to show you is going to change how you see this whole situation. Trust me, you don't want to miss where this is going. Let's dive in. So here's what went down. Meghan Markle shows up at Paris Fashion Week, day 6 if you're keeping track, and she's wearing head-to-toe Balenciaga.
At least he's got to say, right, we've got to keep looking forward, because the forward bit is the important bit with regard to the royal family.
We're talking this massive all-white outfit that people immediately started roasting online. Like, the comments were brutal. Bed sheets, that's what everyone's saying, and honestly, can't really argue with that. It's this oversized cape situation, button-down shirt, wide-leg trousers, the whole thing designed by Pier Paolo. But here's where it gets interesting. Her whole vibe is different, like completely different from what we're used to seeing. You know that signature Meghan smile? Gone. She's got this serious, almost uncomfortable look on her face. Some people are saying she looks nervous. Others are saying it's creepy. It's like she's trying way too hard to look.
You know, when you think about it, just days after Meghan Markle launched herself back in the Parisian world,
mysterious or confident, but it's just coming off awkward. New hairstyle too, totally different from her usual look. Everything about this screams rebrand. And immediately, questions start popping up everywhere. Who sponsored this trip? Why is she there? What's the real angle here? Is she trying to separate herself from Harry? Is this her independence move? Like, this isn't just a casual Fashion Week appearance. There's clearly something bigger happening.
Mom's night out.
Exactly. Yeah, Mom's night out in Paris. The Duchess of Sussex taking her 4
Now, you might be wondering, what's the big deal about Balenciaga? Why does it matter that she chose this specific brand? Well, buckle up, because this is where things get really uncomfortable. All right, so let's rewind to 2022. Balenciaga drops this holiday campaign, right? And people absolutely lose their minds. We're talking about kids, actual children, holding teddy bears that are dressed in bondage-style gear. Yeah, that happened. Like, someone approved that, multiple people signed off on it, and they thought, yeah, let's put this out there.
Paris Fashion Week, making her first Fashion Week appearance in over a decade. The Balenciaga show was clearly meant to be her grand
This wasn't some accidental leak or behind-the-scenes mistake. This was the official campaign, the one they wanted everyone to see, the one they paid photographers, stylists, and a whole team to create. But wait, it gets worse. There's a whole separate campaign they did with Adidas where they've got a handbag sitting on top of court documents. And these aren't just any documents. They're related to laws about inappropriate content involving children. Who thought this was okay? Like, genuinely, who looked at this and said, perfect, let's go with that?
Alrighty. Hello, YouTubers. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today.
How many meetings did this go through? How many people had to nod and agree before this went live? We're talking about a major luxury brand here, not some random startup. They've got teams of professionals reviewing everything. The internet absolutely exploded. We're talking social media meltdown across every platform. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere you looked, people were furious. Reddit was going insane with thread after thread, dissecting every detail.
Paris Fashion Week, making her first Fashion Week appearance in over a decade. The Balenciaga show was clearly meant to be her grand re-entry into the
People were posting videos of themselves literally destroying their Balenciaga bags, cutting them up, throwing them away, burning them, the whole 9 yards. And these weren't just casual buyers. These were die-hard fans who'd collected these bags for years, spent thousands of dollars on the brand, built entire wardrobes around it saying, "I'm done," never supporting this brand again. The comments were wild. People talking about how they'd saved up for months to buy one bag and now they're just throwing it in the trash.
Now let's have a look at Meghan Markle being weird and inauthentic.
Paris Fashion Week is a world built on a flawless...
Others saying they felt sick even looking at their collections. Some were returning bags they just bought, demanding refunds, saying they couldn't even stand having them in their homes anymore. The outrage wasn't quiet. It wasn't subtle. This was massive. Longtime customers retiring their entire collections, vowing never to touch the brand again. Influencers who'd been promoting Balenciaga for years, suddenly distancing themselves. The backlash was fierce, and it wasn't going away. This wasn't one of those controversy for a day situations.
Oh, Meghan Markle parachuting into Paris Fashion Week like she's here to reclaim relevance, one beige bedsheet at a time. It's her first...
Where people get mad and move on by next week. People were genuinely hurt and angry, and they wanted answers. Balenciaga put out some Instagram apology, said they were investigating. But that just made people even more upset. Like, you're investigating your own campaign? You didn't know what was in it before you released it? Come on. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Even people inside the fashion industry couldn't keep quiet about this. So you'd think maybe the backlash was just coming from people on the outside, right? Like,
come on now. We knew it wasn't going to be long after Meghan just broke the internet.
Maybe the fashion world would stay quiet and protect their own, but nope. Even people on the inside started speaking up. And we're not talking about random critics. We're talking about a fashion photographer who actually knows Meghan personally. Someone who works with these brands all the time. This guy goes on camera and you can tell he's genuinely upset. He says he's been getting messages from people telling him to look at what's happening, and when he did, he was utterly horrified. Those are his exact words. Horrified.
Woohoo! Our Duchess of Sussex, baby, had a time in Paris, okay? She documented everything.
And angry. Like, really angry. And remember, this is someone who makes his living working with fashion brands. He's not some outsider trying to stir up drama. Here's what makes his perspective so important. He breaks down the whole approval process. He explains that when you're doing a campaign like this, it's not just the photographer making decisions. There are so many steps. So many people have to look at these images and approve them before they go out to the public, especially for a big retail campaign.
The news is saying Meghan Markle's Paris Fashion Week walk gave Zoolander energy, and honestly, they're not.
Where you're selling products online. He's like, I know how many adult eyes have to look at images for them to be printed. Multiple people, multiple departments, everyone signing off saying, yeah, this is good, let's go. And then he says something that really hits hard. He calls the shoot abhorrent. Just straight up abhorrent. He's talking about how those kids weren't protected. Where were the parents? How did this happen? These children should have been protected, and instead, they were used to sell products. You can hear the frustration in his voice.
Right, this is happening right now. This is Paris Fashion Week. Meghan Markle is in attendance at the...
This isn't just professional criticism. He's genuinely upset about what happened to these kids. But he doesn't stop there. He starts calling out the brand's leadership directly. He's naming names, going all the way up to the CEO, to the owner. He's saying the fashion industry needs to do something about this. Like, real action, not just words. And here's the kicker. Balenciaga put out this Instagram apology said they were investigating, and his response, that's not enough.
There is a new storm brewing around Meghan Markle, the wife of Prince Harry. All has started with an Instagram post.
An Instagram post saying, oops, we're looking into it, doesn't cut it when you've just put out a campaign like that. He calls it an alarm for the industry. Not just a problem for Balenciaga, a wake-up call for everyone. And then he says something pretty bold. He tells his friends in the fashion industry to do the right thing. Talk to people who can actually make changes happen. Take a stand. And get this, he says he doesn't care if he never shoots for anyone in this industry again.
I wanted to punch myself in the face when I saw this video because she's doing this like slow motion model.
Think about that for a second. This is his career, his livelihood, and he's willing to risk all of it because this matters more. That's not just someone jumping on a bandwagon. That's someone who's seen how the system works from the inside and decided enough is enough. So fast forward to now, a couple years after all that drama, and guess who Balenciaga decides to call? Meghan Markle. And this wasn't some random coincidence. They specifically invited her to Paris Fashion Week. They wanted her there. They reached out to her team and said, hey, come to our show.
She's in Paris. She's actually maybe doesn't realize she's approaching the tunnel where Diana died. And then she shows herself putting...
Now, why would they do that? Here's the thing. Balenciaga knows exactly what Meghan brings to the table. She's got name recognition. She's got headlines. Whether people love her or hate her, she gets attention. And attention is exactly what a brand needs when they're trying to move past a massive scandal. Every photo of her, every article written about her appearance, it all shifts the conversation. Instead of people talking about 2022, they're talking about what she's wearing right now. And let's be real, Meghan's not exactly drowning in opportunities these days.
I smiled, but at that moment, I was almost about to cry. Many people criticized me for being cold or lacking.
So when a major luxury fashion brand comes calling with what's probably a nice paycheck attached, she's going to jump on it. This is the kind of visibility she needs. The kind of high fashion moment that says, I'm still relevant, I'm still in the game. But there's more to it than just a one-time appearance. Meghan and this designer, Pier Paolo, they've got history. She's worn his designs before. They've worked together on looks for what they're calling key moments on the world stage. That's fashion speak for we dressed her for important events.
Have you noticed the change in Meghan Markle's expression after being ignored at Paris Fashion Week? No one realized that a subconscious move of hers made her...
She's been talking about how much she admires his craftsmanship and modern elegance. So there's already a relationship there. This isn't her first time in his clothes. The brand's got a new creative director now too. They're trying to turn the page, start fresh, show everyone they've moved on. And what better way to do that than bringing in someone like Meghan? Someone with royal connections, someone who talks about humanitarian work, someone who can make them look legitimate again. It's image rehab on both sides.
Have you noticed the change in Meghan Markle's expression after being ignored at Paris Fashion Week? No one realized that a subconscious move of hers made...
Think about what each side gets out of this. Balenciaga gets a high-profile celebrity who's willing to show up and support them despite their history. They get photos of Meghan at their show looking serious and fashion-forward, acting like the controversy never happened. They get articles in magazines and websites that talk about her outfit instead of their past mistakes. And Meghan, she gets access. Access to the fashion elite, to networking opportunities, to potential future deals. She gets to be seen at Paris Fashion Week wearing a luxury brand.
If it isn't my good friend Meghan.
She gets photos that make her look important and connected. She gets her name back in the headlines for something other than family drama or failed Netflix projects. It's a trade. She gives them legitimacy by association. They give her a platform and probably a paycheck. Both sides need something the other has. It's just business. Convenient business, but still. Now let's talk about the actual outfit, because this thing became a whole conversation on its own. We're talking all white everything. oversized cape.
Meghan Markle just hijacked Kevin Costner's charity event in 3 surprising ways. Reason 1, the entrance. Kevin
Button-down shirt, wide-leg trousers, the whole ensemble designed by Pier Paolo. And the internet? Well, the internet had thoughts. The first thing people started saying, bed sheets, like immediately. That's the comparison everyone jumped to. And honestly, you look at the photos and you kind of see it. It's this massive amount of white fabric just kind of hanging there. Very loose, very baggy, very a lot. Some people were trying to be nice about it, calling it avant-garde or high fashion, but most people...
Duchess Meghan is serving face at her first Paris Fashion Week for the Balenciaga show today. Dozens of photos.
They weren't holding back. Here's where the comments got brutal. People were saying the outfit just doesn't work for her frame, that she doesn't have the tall, slender build to pull off something this oversized and shapeless. And look, fashion can be harsh, the internet can be even harsher. But the consensus was pretty clear this wasn't doing her any favors. It wasn't complimenting her at all. If anything, it was kind of swallowing her up. One comment that kept popping up was like, they must see her coming and be laughing their heads off.
Meghan Markle just tried to make her Paris Fashion Week debut, and honestly, it looked more like a last-minute PTA meeting than high fashion.
The idea that maybe the fashion people are having a bit of fun at her expense, putting her in something that looks ridiculous, and watching everyone pretend it's genius. I mean, that's pretty savage. But it's also what people were thinking when they saw these photos. Now, she did get some compliments too. Some fashion bloggers and outlets were praising the look, calling it bold and modern and all that. But if you read through the comments on social media, the regular people looking at these photos, most of them were not impressed.
Meghan Markle just proved she's mastered the art of a fashion turnaround. Over the weekend during Paris Fashion Week, she stunned.
Words like ridiculous, unflattering, why would she wear that? You get the idea. The negative reactions definitely outnumbered the positive ones. But here's what's interesting. This whole appearance, the outfit, the styling, it's clearly part of a bigger rebrand. She's trying to shed her old image and create something new. And that's obvious when you look at her face in these photos. Remember how Meghan used to always have that big smile?
I am absolutely shocked to see Meghan Markle debut at Paris Fashion Week for the first time ever. But on top of
that was kind of her thing. Always smiling, always looking cheerful and approachable. Not here, not at all. She's got this super serious expression the whole time. Very stern, very focused. And honestly, it looks kind of awkward. It doesn't come across as confident or mysterious or powerful. It's more like uncomfortable, like she's trying really hard not to smile, but also trying to look important, and the whole thing just feels forced. Some people said she looks nervous. Others said it's almost creepy how serious she's trying to...
It is very nice to be back in the UK. And it is very nice.
Either way, it's not reading the way she probably hoped it would. And the hair. Totally different from her usual style. New hairstyle, new vibe, new everything. This is someone actively trying to reinvent themselves. You can see it in every choice. The outfit, the expression, the hair, the whole presentation screams, I'm not who I used to be, I'm something different now. The problem is, when you try that hard to look different, people notice. And when people notice, they comment.
Harry and Meghan are about to get the Humanitarians of the Year award. But here is how Meghan once did.
And when the outfit looks like bed sheets and your expression looks forced and the whole thing feels like you're playing dress up in someone else's idea of fashion, well, the internet's going to have a field day. Now, here's something that didn't go unnoticed. Harry's nowhere to be found in any of these Paris photos. Like, completely absent. And that's not just a casual observation. That's a pretty big deal when you think about it. For years, they've been this unit. The couple, Harry and Meghan. Meghan and Harry.
Fans slammed Meghan Markle for attending a Balenciaga fashion show after the brand was canceled for using children in a creepy...
Always together, always presenting themselves as a team. But here, she's flying solo. And it's not like Paris is a quick trip. She's all the way in Europe. Meanwhile, her kids are back in California. Think about that for a second. She's got young children at home. She's traveling across the ocean, spending time at fashion shows, and there's no sign of Harry anywhere. No supportive husband in the background, no family trip, nothing. Just Meghan by herself networking with fashion people. This isn't giving supportive couple vibes.
Did you notice the man ignoring Meghan Markle at Paris Fashion Week? No one realized he used just one move to make her the biggest laughingstock of.
This is giving I'm doing my own thing now energy. And people picked up on it immediately. The questions started flooding in. Where's Harry? Why isn't he there? Are they even together anymore? Is this a separation? Because it's starting to look less like a marriage and more like two people living separate lives. Look, couples don't have to do everything together. That's not what this is about. But when you've built your entire brand around being a package deal and suddenly one half of that package is off in Paris doing high fashion events alone.
No wonder Christine Scott ignored Meghan's attempts to approach her, but shows great respect for Queen Elizabeth. Recently, Meghan made her...
That shift doesn't go unnoticed, especially when there's been rumors and speculation about their relationship for months now. This whole appearance screams independence. She's not using the "and Harry" part of her name recognition. She's just Meghan. She's making connections on her own terms, building relationships with designers and fashion industry people without him. She's establishing herself as a solo entity, not half of a couple. And that's a pretty deliberate choice. Think about what that means. If you're trying to stay relevant as part of a couple, you bring the couple, you do appearances together, you show that united front. But if you're planning for a future where you might be on your own, then you start building your own separate network, your own connections, your own identity outside of that partnership. And that's exactly what this looks like. She's in Europe, hours away from her family, putting herself in rooms with influential people who can help her career. Not their career, her career.
Have you noticed Meghan Markle's expression change after being snubbed at Paris Fashion Week? No one realized that a subconscious move of...
She's networking for herself, making impressions for herself, creating opportunities for herself. Harry's not part of this equation. The timing is interesting too. She's about to accept a humanitarian award. She's making these high-profile fashion appearances. She's rebranding her whole image. And she's doing all of it without Harry visible anywhere. It's like she's testing the waters, seeing what Meghan without Harry looks like, seeing if she can make it work on her own name and her own reputation.
The Duchess of Sussex has once again found herself at the center of public attention. This time, not for what she said.
And here's the thing, whether this is an actual separation or just her trying to establish independence while still being married, the message is the same. She's building a solo brand. She's creating a version of herself that exists outside of being someone's wife. She's making moves that are about her future, whatever that future looks like. The absence speaks volumes. Sometimes what you don't see tells you just as much as what you do see. And what we're not seeing is any indication that this is a joint effort or a team decision.
What I'm going to talk about today is even worse than that awkward head bump Meghan Markle gave Balenciaga's Italian designer when she tried...
This is Meghan making Meghan moves. Okay, so here's where things get really uncomfortable. Next week, literally next week, Meghan's scheduled to accept a humanitarian award. Yeah, a humanitarian award for helping people, making a positive impact, standing up for what's right. Let that sink in for a second. She just showed up to support a brand that had a massive controversy involving children, a brand people were boycotting. And now, days later, she's collecting an award for humanitarian work.
Meghan Markle has sparked outrage over an utterly bewildering Instagram video filmed as she...
Like, do you see the problem here, the disconnect? You can't talk about helping people while actively helping a controversial brand rebuild their image. Those two things don't exactly go together. Here's the thing. When someone with Meghan's profile shows up, it sends a message. It says, I'm okay with this brand. We can move past what happened. That's validation. That's endorsement. Whether she means it that way or not, that's how it reads. And that validation matters. There are still people debating whether Balenciaga should be forgiven.
Meghan Markle's ancestors are not going to continue to let people play in her face. Breaking news out of Florida, a judge has granted Princess Meghan
Still people who refuse to buy from them. But when celebrities start showing up at their events again, it makes it easier for everyone else to forget. It normalizes supporting them again. So by being there, she's actively helping them move past their scandal. She's part of their comeback strategy, whether that was her intention or not. Now, if you're accepting a humanitarian award, you'd think there'd be some consideration about what you're lending your name to. Some line you wouldn't cross, because humanitarian work is supposed to be about principles.
Meghan Markle just made a show stopping Paris Fashion Week debut at Balenciaga in an all-white cape ensemble with sleek,
right? About standing up for what matters, even when it's not convenient or profitable. But here's what this shows. When there's an opportunity on the table, networking, visibility, a paycheck, those considerations get set aside. It becomes less about what's right and more about what's beneficial for her career. Maybe she thinks enough time has passed, maybe she believes the brand has changed, but the timing is rough. Accepting a humanitarian award the same week you're helping rehabilitate a controversial brand's image.
Rumor has it that Meghan Markle was paid upwards of $1 million for her appearance.
That's a choice that makes people question what that award really means, because humanitarian work isn't supposed to be selective. It's not, I'll stand up for this cause, but not that one, because this opportunity is too good. It's supposed to be consistent. And when your actions don't line up with the image you're projecting, people notice. The award she's getting is supposed to recognize someone who advocates for those who need help, who takes stands on important issues. But what stand did she take here? Where was the consideration for people who were hurt by that campaign and are still upset?
Meghan, one look here, Meghan. Yes, thank you, Meghan.
She could have said no. She could have decided some opportunities aren't worth it, that her humanitarian image matters more than a Fashion Week appearance. But she showed up, wore the clothes, gave them exactly what they wanted: legitimacy and attention. And now she's going to stand on a stage and accept an award for humanitarian work. And a lot of people are going to be watching that and thinking about Paris, thinking about the choice she made, thinking about what humanitarianism really means when it's put up against career advancement. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture here, because this isn't just about one Fashion Week appearance. This is about what happens when the fashion world decides to move on from something controversial. Right now, all over Reddit and social media, people are still asking the same question. Is Balenciaga actually canceled or not? Some folks are sticking to their guns, saying they'll never support the brand again. They're keeping that boycott going. But others are noticing something. Influencers are starting to wear Balenciaga again.
Meghan, can I get a shot, Meghan? Meghan, please. Meghan, one look. Meghan, you are gorgeous, Meghan. You shot.
Celebrities are showing up at their events. The brand is slowly creeping back into people's feeds. And here's the thing about the fashion industry. It's got this really short memory when it comes to scandals. A controversy happens, there's outrage, people say they're done, and then a year or two passes and suddenly everyone's acting like it never happened. New collection drops, new campaigns launch, and the cycle just keeps moving. That's how it works. Meghan showing up at Paris Fashion Week, she's part of that cycle.
Oh, how are you? Nice to see you. Everything's great. Bye.
She's helping the fashion world forget, and whether she sees it that way or not, that's what's happening. When someone with her visibility supports a brand that people were boycotting, It sends a signal. It tells everyone, okay, we can move on now, but let's talk about why she's really there. She needs connections, high-level fashion industry connections. She needs income opportunities. She needs to be in rooms with influential people who can open doors for her career. And Paris Fashion Week.
Dress like a trophy, act like a trophy, talk like a trophy, okay? Treat yourself like a trophy. Make sure every hair is in place.
That's where all of that happens. That's where deals get made, where relationships get built, where careers get launched. So she's making a calculation. On one side, there's the controversy, the boycott, the people who are still upset about what happened. On the other side, there's networking, visibility, career opportunities, money, and she's choosing the opportunities. She's choosing career advancement over taking a principled stand. Think about the logistics for a second. She's in Europe, her kids are in California, that's hours away, an entire ocean between them.
At one point she sat on the front row and a model tripped and she burst out laughing. And then she realized that was obviously quite a cruel thing to do, so she...
Harry's nowhere in sight. She's at a fashion show for a brand with a controversial history. And she's doing all of this while branding herself as a humanitarian. This tells you what the priorities are. It's not about the kids at home. It's not about standing by principles. It's not about the humanitarian image she's trying to build. It's about making money, building her solo brand, creating a network that can sustain her career moving forward. And the fashion industry, they're happy to have her. Because every celebrity who shows up, every influencer who starts wearing the brand again.
World Mental Health Day Festival on October the 10th. The prize description lauds their...
It makes their job easier. It helps them move that narrative forward. It helps everyone forget and move on. That's the reality of how this works. Controversies fade when people with influence decide they've faded. And Meghan just decided this one has. So here's the bottom line. Actions speak louder than words. You can talk about humanitarian work all day long. You can accept awards and give speeches about causes you care about. But at the end of the day, people are watching what you actually do. And what you do tells the real story.
Transition to you-know-who. Prince Harry has suggested people are trying to sabotage his reconciliation.
Meghan made a choice. She crossed a line that a lot of people wouldn't cross. Not for networking, not for visibility, not for career opportunities, but she made a different calculation. Whether you think that's smart business or a moral compromise, that's up to you. Maybe you think enough time has passed. Maybe you think she's just doing what she needs to do for her career, or maybe you think there should be some consistency between what you say and what you do. But here's what's undeniable. She's rebranding as independent.
Was New York. You know, we must all join hands and think the very best thoughts. Because Harry and Meghan last time they were in New York City, of course.
As a humanitarian, as someone who stands for something. And then she shows up for a brand people were boycotting. She's hours away from her kids. Harry's nowhere around. And next week, she's accepting an award for helping people. That humanitarian award, it just hits different now, doesn't it? In the race to reinvent herself, to build that solo brand, some boundaries got left behind, some principles got set aside, and people notice. They see the gap between the image and the reality.
In a sleek black Valentino gown with a daring thigh slit, and Kim in a sculptural Schiaparelli suit.
And that's what this Paris Fashion Week appearance really showed us. Not just a questionable outfit, but what happens when career advancement meets uncomfortable choices? What gets sacrificed when opportunities are on the table? So, what do you think? Was this just a business decision, or did she cross a line? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear where you stand on this. And if this video got you thinking, hit that like button and subscribe, because we're diving into stories like this all the time. The ones that make you go, wait, hold on. See you in the next one.